My friend Katie owns a business that she's built almost entirely upon her ability to make connections with people in digital spaces. She's had to train teams, pitch sales, share product reviews, and acquire new customers, all from behind a computer screen. Her family's entire livelihood has depended upon the relationships that she has sought and maintained online. And today, Katie has built up a network of nearly 7,000 so-called friends across her social networks. Of course, Katie would tell you that the actual number of friends in her life is a much, much smaller number. And the number of people that she'd invite to join her on a beachy vacation for a week, fewer still. For over 800 years, the word friend existed solely as a noun. And then suddenly social media makes its way into the scene and we are friending people left and right. And later, friends became followers and, well, maybe we have a different idea of what it means to have friends and to be a friend in real life. Social media takes hold of and capitalizes on this idea that we were created for relationship. We have an innate desire to be connected to one another. And as parents, God fully intended the family to be the place where our first and deepest relationships were formed. So as society is reimagining what it means to have authentic and meaningful relationships outside of the physical boundaries that we normally would have, we need to be strategic about pursuing intentional connection with our kids on their digital playground.
I'm sure many of you watching can remember a time not so long ago where you'd come home from school, throw your backpack by the door, grab your bike, and take off with your neighborhood friends, not to be seen again until it was time for dinner.
Yeah, in fact, for some of us, our parents kicked us out of the house for hours of unsupervised exploration and play. Maybe the world felt a little safer then, simpler even.
Oh, how times have changed. The technology offered to us today has opened up a world of possibilities for our kids to access information, explore their creativity, and stay connected. However, the tension lies in this reality that if we are not careful, we can entirely miss the reason this technology was created, to improve how we connect with each other.
Do you know what the very first human problem was? You might be thinking it was sin, or maybe pride that led to the fall. But in actuality, the very first thing that was not good was that man was alone. God, who himself exists in the Trinity relationship with the Father, Son, and Spirit, created man in his own image and looked upon him and said, it is not good for him to be alone.
We were created for relationship with God and with one another. Though we are in a hyper-connected world, loneliness amongst nearly all generations is at an all-time high, affecting more than 70% of today's teens.
And though we can trace this epidemic shift back to the introduction of the smartphone, we just can't seem to help ourselves when it comes to pursuing digital engagement over physical interactions.
So how can we bridge this gap? How do we meet our kids and teens where they want to be while also working to counter these very real statistics?
We think the answer is play. Playing together is one of the most effective tools for building strong relationships with our kids. Researchers have found that engaging in a state of play releases all of our good brain feel-good hormones that actually help us bond with our kids. If we take this information and look at today's technology landscape with fresh eyes, we can see that it offers us a new digital playground through which we can strengthen relationships within our families.
What does it look like to play with our kids in the digital playground? Parents need to ask the question, can you show me how? And look through their child's lens with their adult wisdom. We can truly harness interest in our child that they uncover online and reinforce them in offline spaces. I want to give you some examples of ways where you can take the digital interests of your children and put them to use even for the kingdom of God.
You know, for my youngest son, he's an online gamer. And as an online gamer, you would think, oh no, he's playing 8 or 9 hours a day. Well, you know, we went through this season where we challenged our son, hey, we don't want you just to look at gaming as something that is fun, but we want you to look at it as something that's very competitive. Not only do we want you to play, but we want you to video yourself, Take notes on how you can get better, and then see what happens after you get better, after you level up one after another after another. And believe it or not, he is now the president of his esports team at his high school.
That's awesome.
His team went on to actually win the state at the game that he loves to play, which is Rocket League. Now, I get to see my son through a lens of competition, just like when I was growing up, it used to be basketball and soccer and all these different sports. Today, it can be video games because the 3 guys who ended up winning the state in Rocket League, they're all seniors and they're all getting college scholarships to go play a video game in college.
That would never have happened before, and that is so cool that it's happening now. When I watch my son play Minecraft, at first I was like, what is the deal with this game? But I was actually so impressed because it's actually kind of hard, at least for me, it was. But for him, I'm like, you could be an architect, you could be an engineer, you're an artist, you're so creative. And while I was sitting there admiring his ability to build worlds and structures, I was also looking to see, is there in-game chat? Can he chat with anybody in the world, or is there anybody in that server with him? I'm using my adult wisdom, looking through my adult eyeballs and lens in his world of play, but still connecting with him versus just lecturing him or asking him questions like, what's going on in that Minecraft world of yours?
Well, so your kid may not be into Rocket League
Nope.
or Minecraft.
Yep.
Maybe they love to cook. Maybe their play is doing something with their hands and collecting recipes, putting those recipes up on Pinterest, and then learning on YouTube on how to make you dinner. Now, I don't know about you, but as a parent, that would be amazing for you to come home and for them to make you dinner. Amazing, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So whenever your child is interested in either creating, curating, or competing, make sure that you're open and vulnerable about what you experience online. Maybe you feel left out. Maybe you feel like you don't measure up. The comparison trap is a real thing. There are impossible beauty standards. There's the Pinterest perfection and filtered lives. Help them see all sides of the story that you deal with, because it will show them your vulnerability and help them connect with you.
Meet your kids where they are. Play the games with them. Download the apps that they use.
Please.
We are created for relationships with our kids.
It's one thing to casually ask your kid, oh, so what are you doing on the iPad? And they tell you, and then you go on about your day. It's another thing to actually sit there and watch them and engage in multiple conversations and dialogue and really see through their eyes with your adult wisdom what they're encountering. Watch as they navigate to the search in YouTube and see what YouTube is suggesting to them to continue to watch. If they're scrolling on TikTok, what type of content is being served to them? If they're playing around on Instagram, what is showing up on their search feed that Instagram thinks they want to see? There's so many elements that you probably have no idea exist in your child's digital world. Snapchat, for example, has snap maps that if your child is not on ghost mode, allows anybody that your child is connected to see their real-time location. You can zoom down and see what the front of the building looks like that they're in. Did you know that? If not, kind of freaky, right? So you need to really spend time with your kid, and it's okay to play dumb. We don't have to know everything. You can play dumb and just be like, wow, what does that button do? Or what does that feature do? And they might not want to show you, and that alone is a red flag.
And you may end up as a parent doing some things that you really didn't want to do. For example, I didn't know why my boys really loved to play Fortnite. I just didn't really want to do it myself, but I got in there and I was going to play. So I was like, okay, let me try this. Well, I played it once. I ended up third in the round that we were playing. How did I end up third? I hid in a bush the entire time. But I got to see my boys play. I got to see them light up because they enjoyed playing this game. And it also gave me insight as a parent to be able to influence them in the direction that I wanted them to go, even in the games that they play themselves. So even though I didn't want to play Fortnite, it gave me so much knowledge as a parent to be able to influence the things that they were doing even afterwards. You see, in Acts 2:44, it talks about the early church and how all of the believers were together and had everything in common. We are created to commune. We now just have to have this new digital space for community.
Yeah, and even consider ways that you can expand your circle to intentionally invite other voices into your parenting journey. Ask your friends where they get their parenting advice. Follow and engage with others in such a way that they help you grow as a parent. You know, the Parenting in a Tech World Facebook group has helped me grow as a parent. I've met so many amazing parents from across the globe, and it's helped me to rethink how I parent, and I'm in this Parenting in a Tech World every single day.
Look, community can be hard, and even in our Parenting in a Tech World group, we don't always agree with each other. And the goal is not agreement. In fact, we allow disagreement a lot. We hope that it's not divisive. And the same thing goes with your child. It's not that you always agree with your child, it's that you don't let technology become divisive between your relationship.
Absolutely. And look for ways to reinforce your child's digital relationships by strategically allowing them to follow and engage with others you know and trust and that point your child to Jesus.
Look, relationships over everything. The goal is not for you to have control, but it's for you to teach self-control as a parent.
Absolutely. You know, Matt, you have said this time and time again, and it always hits home. You want your child to want to return home when they no longer have to.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine? You're sitting there at Thanksgiving and all of a sudden your kid wants to come back for Thanksgiving. It's not because you controlled everything on technology that they want to do that. It's because you have a great relationship with them.
Absolutely. And please know that we have an instinctive nature to protect our children, to shelter them from everything, to remove any boulder that might be in their way so they don't feel pain. But that's actually not good for them in the long run. You have to help them figure out how to navigate that rocky path because one day they'll be doing it on their own. So you need to help set them up for success.
So, as you leave this session, remember, go ask your child, can you teach me how? And maybe, just maybe, you'll have a little fun as well.
In the final book of the New Testament, the Apostle John shares a vision of history's final outcome, where Jesus is revealed and exalted once and for all as king over the entire world. And in it he writes, "I looked, and behold, a great multitude that no one could number, from every nation, from all tribes and peoples and languages, standing before the throne." What a beautiful picture of the redeemed community that will come to bear when Jesus returns. God's heart has always been set on relationship with his people and for his people to grow in relationship with one another. As we encounter the daily challenges of parenting in a tech world, you can center yourself and everything you do on pursuing relationship over everything else. Think about the ways in which technology can help you refine your own relationship with God. Think about how you can engage in authentic relationship with others and how you can teach your kid to do the same. We know this intersection of faith and technology can feel really tricky, and we're not going to always get it right. But we can trust that God's word remains a reliable source of wisdom to guide us as we seek to faithfully parent in a tech world.